Hello everyone. Today I'll be going through the Specialist Math 1-2 worksheet for week 3, and as you can kind of see from my working out, this is not necessarily a easy one. So yeah, cool. Let's get started. So the first question, before doing this type of question, we should always draw the, I guess, the trick like quadrant stuff, right? So we know this is theta, this is pi minus theta, this is pi plus theta, and this is 2 pi minus theta. So for the first one, sine pi plus a, and we know that that's immediately the third quadrant. So if sine a is 0.1, third quadrant sine is negative, therefore it's negative 0.1. So question 2, this is not the easiest question. So how I did it is first I broke up 3 pi on 2 into pi on 2 plus pi minus a. And then I've converted cosine of pi on 2 plus pi minus a into sine of a minus pi, because we can convert cosine pi on 2 plus theta as sine of minus theta, basically. Then we can take the negative sign out because sine allows us to do that, and to get negative sine pi minus a, and then that just becomes the second quadrant. So sine is positive in the second quadrant, but there's a negative at the front, therefore it's negative 0.1. And for cosine pi minus b, that's just the second quadrant as well. And if cosine is negative in the second quadrant, negative times negative is positive, so we get 0.3 here. So for the final one, I broke 5 pi on 2 into 2 pi and pi on 2. So because if sine 2 pi plus anything is just itself, because 2 pi is just a revolution. So this is just equal to sine of pi on 2 plus theta, which is equal to cosine, sorry, not theta, cosine a. And the way I worked out cosine a is that if sine a is 0.1, then we can kind of, because sine is opposite over hypotenuse, right? So we can kind of plug in some values here. Let's say the opposite is 1 and the hypotenuse is 10, and that's the angle A here. Then we know that, well, sine A is 0.1. And by Pythagoras theorem, we can also fill this in as square root of 99 or 3 root 11. And from that, we can deduce that cosine of A is 3 root 11 on 10. And keep in mind, because cosine A is in the first quadrant, and that's why it's positive. So yeah, the answer to this final one is 3 root 11 on 10. Question 2, if 10 of 10x is 1 on 3, and x is the third quadrant, so notice how I drew Q3 here. We want to evaluate sine x, cosine x. So immediately we can see Q3, sine and cosine are both negative. So we kind of just drew the triangle here and filled out the hypotenuse. Then we get sine x is negative 1 on square root of 10, and cosine x is negative 3 on square root of 10. The final one, so first step is I divided both sides by cosine x to get 10 of 2x equals to 1. And then I've used the tan double angle formula to break it down into 10 of 2x, 2 10x is equal to 1 minus 10 squared x. And then I kind of made this a quadratic, and I got 10x is equal to negative 1 plus minus root 2. So we don't know any exact values for this, so I just decided to use a CAS and plug in the domain and got those values. Yep, so this is probably not an easy worksheet, but hopefully all this makes sense. If there's any other questions, feel free to ask me on WeChat. I'll see you guys next week.